Okay, this is our little Japanese birds painting, and I've got every color except purple. Just real quick, it's white, yellow, orange, red, green, both blues, brown, and black. Now, this painting is a little trick or two to it to get it to turn out. It's not a very complex painting, but I do want to do a couple of things real quick. The main thing is I want to drop in the basic oval shape of the bird, the kind of egg shape. Now, I'm using my big brush, my pointy brush, and a decent angle brush, okay? Try to get a decent angle brush. I'm gonna get some yellow, find the center, which is right about here, right about there. And the center of the painting is like right in the middle, in the lower part of the front bird. Now, I'm gonna put a little curve right there, a little smiley curve. I'm gonna put a little orange with it so you can see it better maybe. And then this is going to come up and around like this, and it got a nice little egg shape, like an inverted egg, kind of like that. And then I'm going to put another one up a little higher, like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, something like that. And I'm not going to paint my background on that part. And then what I'm going to do is use a big brush to do a wash. And with my wash, I'm going to paint the whole background. And I'm going to use the brush really loosely. And I normally do the whole thing because it's going to be light, except I want to let that bright yellow area on the bottom of the birds be just pure. So I'm going to get a big scoop of water, or a big dip of water, put a bunch of water on there, real wet. Get a little bit of orange paint. I'm sorry, yellow paint. This yellow paint. And then a little bit of white paint, and a little bit of green paint. Very little bit of green. Paint the whole background like that. Now, I'm going to get lots of water. This is like a watercolor painting, okay? So lots of water, real runny. I'm going to be a little runnier than I normally might be, but I want to see all that drippiness. It looks real good, okay? Lots of yellow and white, little bits of green, a little touch of green, because if I put too much, it's going to get all overdone, over painted. And I'm going to do that all around. Now, when I get around my birds, obviously my paint's running down, so I'll just be a little more careful around the birds up here like that, a little more careful so I don't drip that too much. I don't have quite as much paint on my brush. And a little more white, a little bit of green. So it's a little bit less runny in this area up above like that. So I can mimic that look with just my brush being kind of, swinging it up and down. And then all this area over here can be real runny still, because I don't care. It can be very vertical, very runny. Be a little quick with this, but don't forget the white, and don't forget lots of water. So see how the pretty, the way the pretty green will make those kind of. I can do what I want underneath them because it doesn't run over them because it's going down. So paint all that, real pretty, and very natural looking, and. Be a little quick here as I finish this up. And then I'll paint the birds after this. So let's get this all on here. I'm going to be a little bit loose. Don't be afraid to let that paint just run. The way that the paint drips makes interesting effects. And the white can add some nice effects too, because it's more opaque. It's not a color that you normally use for watercolor. So that's a little too much green. But I'm just going to wipe it out so like that. A little white and yellow. Okay, now, when I go to paint my birds, I'm assuming that this is going to be drier when I go to actually paint it, but the birds themselves don't have any paint on them, so I can go ahead and paint them. Now, the birds, I'm going to paint with the little angle brush, and I'm going to paint them simultaneously because they're similar. And so I'm going to get some yellow paint, and I'm going to put a bunch of yellow paint down here at the bottom, like that. A little yellow paint at the bottom. I'll leave a little space on the side because they got tails that are going like there and there. And I'm going to just brush this up a little bit. I want this to look natural, very unstudied. Bring a little yellow up in like that. I don't want to get too much yellow up where the blue is going though, because that'll look, won't look good. And I'm going to get a little orange paint, and I'm going to make a nice curve around here, and around here, and brush that orange up into the yellow get that looking kind of watercolory like that. It's real pretty, nice bright orange. And then I will rinse out my brush and get a little green paint, a little bit of green, maybe some yellow too, and paint this little yellow green up in there like that, and just kind of brush that into the yellow so it's nice and blended. So the yellow blends into green because it's got, you know, yellow and blue make green, and then yellow and red make orange. So that looks nice. And then what I can do is rinse my brush out again and get my turquoisey color. And my turquoise, maybe a little bit of white paint, come up a little higher than that, and let that be a little bit more turquoisey, a little higher than that. And of course, when the green mixes with it, that's fine. Now, there's a little area like over here I'm going to leave sort of open. And that's just, and again, that's just a little affectation for the painting. I'm going to leave a little, like a little ellipse kind of sideways for the eye. And I'm going to play around with that a little bit. I might add some white paint to it. But I'm leaving a little white space there, and a little white space there, just so I have some little light areas in my birds. And I'm going to go to my navy paint. I take my navy paint, paint my navy paint around, get this part here, around the navy, get around like that. Paint that part around like this, paint that all navy. I'm going to put black in with that navy, so it's not going to end up being as light as that. The navy that I happen to have here tonight is a little bit light. It's not our usual ultramarine, it's more of a cobalt, so it could be a little darker, but it's still pretty. And brush this blue down through here. And so that blue just blends in with my turquoise. I'm going to go around this little area here where the eye was and brush this down into the orange a little bit. And when I get into the orange paint, I might turn my brush over and put a few little dots in like that. Kind of make it look a little bit more interesting, like so. I'm over here to the side, so this one bird's looks a little bigger than the other one, but I might make it a little bigger to balance out some. Okay, then I'm gonna assume that my, well, let me get a little black first. Let me get a little black paint. And I'm gonna paint a little black around the top here, like that on the top, and let that black just go right around the top of the blue, like so. And then lightly brush that down into the blue so that I get a darker area. And what it's doing is it's darkening my blue up, which is good. And then just kind of brushing down into this area here over the blue, making it look a little blacker or darker. And so looks natural. I mean, it's stylized, of course, but it has a natural kind of look to it. Okay, then I'm going to take my blue and my black together, a little bit of blue, I mean the navy blue, and a little bit of black, and then I'm going to come down with some long strokes like this. And I got my angle brush, and I got kind of a small one. I'm going to have a little bit of roughness on the edge. We like that, little roughness coming down like that. And over on this one, I might make this one go a little bit more out, and it's coming right back from, you know, to the right of this yellow area. And this one might come around like this, like that. Again, real loose. This is a Japanese brush painting, so they're going to real brushy looking, a little light, real pretty. Maybe a little extra part that kind of sticks out a little bit, and that's nice. Got a nice, you know, very natural look. And then once that's done, I'm going to wipe my brush out a little bit, and I'm going to actually move on with my brush upside down and get some orange paint. Now that this background's kind of dry, yellow and orange together, I'm going to start to lay in some little flowers. I'm using the brush upside down. We do this a lot. I'm using yellow and orange together on my brush, turn it upside down, and remember, I'm going out at an angle here, so I'm trying to put just little buds, just little marks around like that, just easy. I'm going to put some back over here so I can balance out. Lots of yellow, a little bit of orange. Some in through here like that so we can cross through. And that's very pretty. Okay, that should be well dry. If mine's dry, yours will be dry because I'm doing so fast here. Leave some room up there for the beaks, kind of so up in this area at an angle. Put maybe a few there, get up like that. Put a few like that. And then what I'm going to make my branches do is conform to whatever my little flowers did. So this is just very, very loose, very natural, okay? And I'll put a few down over here. And then I'm going to get a little bit of red paint, a little teeny bit of red paint, there's not a lot, just a little bit of red, put a little red in there while it's wet, let that red kind of dance around the inner part of these little orange flowers, pull out that color nice and brightly, real pretty, okay? Then I'm gonna rinse out my brush and dry it and get my brown and black together. I got some brown, I got some black together, blend them up, and I'm gonna come in like this with long strokes with the edge of my brush. I'm gonna come along like that, bend a little bit like so, let it come out like that a little bit, thick then thin, using the edge of my brush. I'm gonna break out up here with a little loose, small one like that. Put a few little marks along the way. This looks good. This is very natural looking. A few little marks to show like little branches that have broken away. But I'm using my brush on its edge. I'm just drawing with it, but I'm pushing and lifting as I come out. I'll come down here, let this kind of angle down like this a little bit. Come down here. Again, I'm going in between my flowers. A little thicker as it starts and a little thinner as it comes out. A few little extra little lines. Looks good. And then the one that they're on, I'm going to put them actually on that one. Maybe I'll have one kind of come out and over here like that. You kind of practice the stroke a little bit, but it's just a drawing stroke. A lot easier than the one where we turn the brush with the cherry blossoms. This is just a drawing stroke, really. Just loose, 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 easy, easy. Just remember, always thicker where it begins and thinner where it ends. A little bit to connect them where they're sitting on there, coming out like that. Make sure it looks like it's, you know, angled up properly. A little thicker over here. And I'm just putting like little extra little marks and things, just loose, loose, loose. I got the brown and the black together on the brush, so as I'm painting it, I'm getting a little light and dark all through the brush. And then I'll come down here, make this a little bit more interesting, come down like that. Maybe a little thicker one comes down like that. Maybe it can come, this can kind of come like in front of, like behind this one's tail, but in front of that one's tail if you want. Just real scratchy and loose at the end. Bring that like that. This is all connected to that one. A few little dots, like little small blossoms, but they're also like little branch parts, you know, little dots around like that. And then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna call that it. I'm gonna get my little pointy brush, and with my pointy brush, I'm gonna get my black paints. This is just black, and the beaks are like little curves. They come right down under the nose. They curve over like this, and then back like that, like a little horn, like that. I'll do both tops at the same time, make sure they look similar. Again, it doesn't quite matter exactly how yours looks as long as it's similar on both birds. And then the bottom kind of looks like this. It's actually on the one that I've got over here, it's like the same thing, except smaller like that. On this one, that's probably a little big, like a toucan. It's probably a little bigger than it needs to be. And then on this one, it kind of does a little S curve like that. It kind of curves up a little bit, like almost like a crab claw. And then it's just black. Now, if you need to, you can bring a little white in there, but I like to keep it real simple. So I'm just going to get some black and put a nice big black eye on that. This is a very kind of Japanese way of doing these eyes where they look more human. So, but it's a big pupil, little eyeball like that. And then get a little bit of white paint and just put a little bit of a highlight, just enough highlight just to get a little life on that eye like that. And that's cute. This one's beak is too big, but that one looks good. And that's basically it, y'all. It's just a simple little painting that's mainly just benefits from its looseness and it's kind of real free stroke. But that's it. Okay, good luck with it.